Okay, today we're going to go ahead and play around with ChatGPT a little bit and see if we can get it to write a program for us. I'll post an article down below that shows you kind of some of the stuff that you can do. I've actually gotten it to write me a Python program. I think I got to about 300 lines of Python before it started getting really confused and getting more difficult, and it would have just been easier at that point to program it yourself. But for small programs or modules that you want to include in programs, ChatGPT can actually do a pretty good job. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that you're going to want to do is have an idea of what type of program you want to write. For simplicity, we're going to start with a calculator. So we'll go ahead and say, write me a calculator program in Python. Give it a GUI. Make sure that it can calculate addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and let's say percentages. Let's go ahead and press enter and see how it does. Okay, so right now it's actually pulling the tkinter library in Python to create a GUI because we said that we wanted one. It's going to perform addition, subtraction, division, and percentages, and it's giving us the code here. So it's doing an import of tkinter as tk. It's importing the message box from tkinter. It's defining a function for us to calculate. And it's going to give you the result. It's going to create a label, error message in case something is incorrect. And it's doing another function to give you a delete key and the results label. It's doing a whole bunch of stuff for us here. So yeah, let's go ahead and see what else it says. It says to use this calculator, you'll type out the full expression. So you give it whatever you need, 2 plus 2, or 5 times 7, 10 divided by 2, into the entry field, and then you press enter, and it will calculate it for you. It'll say that the rest is entered in the field below, and even gives you a nice clear button to clear it. Okay, so let's actually put this into Python and see if it executes without any errors. So we'll copy this. I use PyCharm, so let's go ahead and get that created. We'll call it calculator demo. All right, so we're going to use Python 3.9, and we'll go ahead and get this project created. Okay, so now that we have our project created, we're going to go ahead and replace what they have here with our code that we got generated from ChatGPT. And let's go ahead and press run on this, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so if we go ahead and type in 1 plus 1, and there's no enter button. So we can't press enter. Let's try enter on the keyboard. Doesn't work. All right, so it kind of did it. It gave us a GUI. It has a clear button. It has a bunch of buttons. It looks like it has a decimal point to handle decimals. Percentage button. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to ChatGPT. Let's tell it, hey, that's great, but we don't have an enter button. And so let's say, I don't have an enter button for this program. There is no way to submit my calculation. Okay, and yeah, it says I apologize for the confusion. Here is the updated code with an equal button for the calculation. So let's go ahead and let that keep typing out and see how it does. so let's copy this out and we'll go back into PyCharm. We'll swap the code out. We'll press play. And now we have an equal button. It looks a little funky, but it is there. We can resize the window, it looks like. All right, so let's go ahead and try 1 plus 1. Ah, it's covering another button. That's why it looks weird. Okay, so the equals button works now, but it's covering our subtraction button. We can still press it, but it's covered up. So let's go ahead and tell ChatGPT that. Now my subtraction button is covered up in the GUI. Can you fix this? All right, so there you go. I apologize for the confusion. Let's adjust the layout. Here's the corrected code. All right, so it goes through, it's gonna do the code, and yeah, it looks like it's doing it. All right, so let's check and see if that actually worked. So we'll copy that out. We'll go back into our program. We'll paste it out and press play. And there we go. All right, we have, oh, it's a little weird now. We do have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, but it's all messed up. So let's go ahead and go back into ChatGPT and ask. We'll say, group the numbers on the left-hand side of the GUI and group the addition, subtraction, and other buttons on the right-hand side. Okay, yep, so I got it right. So it says you can do this by adding the buttons to separate frames. Here's an updated version of your program with numbers on the left and operators on the right. Perfect, that's exactly what we wanted. So we'll go ahead and let it keep typing this out. And once it's done, I'll go back up to the top, we'll copy it up, and we'll put it back into our program and see how it does. Okay, yep, there's the updated code. Let's copy this out, go back into PyCharm. All right, we're up to 70 lines of code. It's still doing good. It did mostly well. It did pretty much what we asked it to. We've got our numbers here. Equal sign should probably be up here or over here, but pretty close. So let's try it again. 1 plus 1 equals 2. Let's try something a little bit harder. 9 times 2 equals 18. Okay. 9 times 9 equals 81. 100 times 10 equals 1,000. Okay. Yeah, it's doing great. So let's go ahead and tell ChatGPT to improve the user experience. Let's see if it can handle something like that. Please improve the user experience of this program. Let's see how it does. So sure, to enhance the user experience, we can include various functions such as enlarge the button and text size to improve visibility and ease of clicking. Include tooltips to guide the users in case they forget what a button does. Adding a color to differentiate between numbers and operator buttons. Implementing keyboard support so users can use the calculator without the mouse. Okay, let's see how that does. It even gives us the code to incorporate these enhancements, and it looks like it's giving us the entire code, so we don't have to write the whole thing over. So let's check and see. Let's replace everything. We'll press play. We're up to 89 lines of code now. Okay. It didn't resize the frame. It did make everything bigger, much easier to see. So let's go back in here and say, now the window is too small to fit everything. I apologize for the oversight. The window size can be adjusted to fit all the elements properly in the following code. I have enlarged the window size to 400 by 600. And then it's continuing to type out all the code that we need. So we'll go ahead and wait for that to get done. But this is crazy. So I know a little bit of Python, but to actually do this, I didn't, other than knowing how to install PyCharm, knowing how to get this installed, I didn't really write anything here. I just told ChatGPT what I wanted to do, and it made me a program. So let's go ahead and go back over here. We'll paste our new code in. We're up to 90 lines, or 89 lines of code still. And it didn't, this is, all right, so it looks like this is where it starts to break down. Our window is still not quite the right size. So let's tell ChatGPT. At this point, I think it would probably be easier to just come in here, and it looks like what happened is it flipped the sizes. So if we tell this is too long and this is too narrow, so it probably should have been the opposite. It probably should have been like this. So let's tell ChatGPT and see if it can get it right without us actually having to do it. So we can say our window size is now too long but not wide enough. Can you flip those values? There you go. It says it's 600 by 400, and up here it was saying it was 400 by 600. So in theory, that should fix our problem. We're going to go ahead and wait for this to keep writing out. But I think you kind of get the point, right? We have a really great tool at our disposal. At the very least, it gets you really started on your program. What'll most likely happen is this will allow you to write faster than you otherwise normally would. Definitely, if I were to program all of this out by hand, it would have taken longer than it took to create this video. And we did that in this time. So yeah, let's go ahead and press play again. And it did pretty close. So we've got to go a little bit wider. It probably could be by 800 instead of 600. So let's go ahead and go into this manually and find out, let's see where it's actually doing it at. There we go, 600 by 400. So let's go ahead and do 800 by 400 and we'll play it again. There we go, pretty close. Let's just do 850 by 400. There you go. All right, so we're getting really close, right? It did some neat things. It enlarged the numbers for us. It mostly grouped things. The equals button is still here in the middle. It does some interesting stuff, like when you hover over it, it's changing the text color for you. You can even go further. You can create a menu up at the top. You can add some right-click features. You can keep going. Eventually, once the code gets too long, you can only have so many lines of input before ChatGPT starts to forget things. But this will get you pretty far. Eventually, you're going to have to start learning the program itself. I would even argue that this is a way to learn the program. So when you're typing everything in ChatGPT here, it's giving you an explanation of what it's doing. So if you go through and actually read those explanations, this can be a really good way to learn programming languages. ChatGPT seems to do pretty well with Python. That's the only one I've specifically tried. But yeah, if you're interested in using ChatGPT to try to either learn programming or create a program that you've been wanting to create, but you just don't have the skills maybe yet, I definitely would encourage you to give it a try.